Dear students, in the last class we studied about the integrals, vector integrals, line integral, surface integral and volume integral. These things we studied in the previous class. Now let us see what are the applications of these these integrals, vector integrals, where actually they are used. For that, let us consider a concept called divergence of a vector field. Divergence of a vector field. This divergence term, the divergence is nothing but the divergence of any vector field. It is the net amount of flux of that vector field diverging. What do you mean by diverging? Moving away from a given point per unit volume. Divergence of the vector field is nothing but the net amount of flux of the vector field diverging per unit volume. Say for example, if you consider an electric field due to a charge. Suppose there is a charge say Q, then surrounding this charge there is an electric field. And usually we denote the electric field by the lines of force. And here these are the lines of force when the charge is positive. Suppose we have a positive charge, the lines of force are moving away from the given point. Now, flux means the amount of these lines of force. Flux of the vector field, in this particular case, electric field is E, nothing but the vector field is electric field. So flux nothing but the number of lines of force in this case. The same thing applied in case of magnetic field also, magnetic lines of force. So a flux of the vector field diverging means moving away from the point. This is nothing but diverging per unit volume surrounding the given point. Per unit volume surrounding the given point is called the divergence. So here the same example I have given. This is, here we consider the electric flux. The number of lines called as the flux, electric flux denoted as phi. Electric field is a vector quantity, flux is the scalar. So this is the example for the divergence of the vector field. See the point from where this vector field is diverging, that point is considered as a source. The point from where the vector field is diverging, it is called the source. Then, suppose there is a point in this vector field at which if the vector field is converging at the point, this one can be explained using a negative charge. If you keep a negative charge at the point, then there is an electric field surrounding it. In that case, the lines of force are pointing towards that point, towards the charge. So here, pointing towards nothing but these are the pointer, these lines of force, or the vector field is converging at the point. So the flux may be diverging one or it may be converging one. The vector field may be diverging or it may be converging. In case of convergence, the point is called as the sink. When the vector field converges at a point, that point is called as the sink. Here it is a source. Then source in a vector field, source can be, the vector field is diverging means source, it can be taken as a point of less density. The density goes on decreasing as the lines of force, they diverge, density less. Whereas sink, it can be, there it is the lines of force in this case, but the vector field converging means the density is more at the point called as the sink. This is about the divergence of the vector field. And here, consider a vector field F in general. Here it is E in particular. Consider a vector field F in general. In that field, consider a closed surface S enclosing a volume V. Closed surface S enclosing a volume V. In this surface, let us consider a point surrounding a small area ds. Let the normal to the surface ds, let it be along this direction. Let that normal makes an angle theta with the field direction. So that the flux of this vector field, from this region ds, flux of the vector field from the region ds is defined as, or it is given by, the surface integral of f vector dot ds vector. To calculate the flux, it is here, say divergence. The flux lines are moving away from the point. So the flux is, it's nothing but divergence of the vector field. Field is pointing away. Divergence of the vector field. This divergence of the vector field is defined as the surface integral of f vector dot ds vector over the entire surface. For one surface of area ds, the flux coming out, flux of this field coming out is f vector dot ds vector. This dot product gives the flux. And for the entire surface, it's given by surface integral over the closed surface. And this is the definition for, and this is the total flux coming from the surface S. Now what is divergence? We define divergence as the limiting value of flux per unit area, unit volume. The divergence, nothing but the limiting value of flux per unit volume. The limiting value here, if you divide this whole surface into this, see the total volume is V. Divide the surface into small parts having volumes V1, V2, V3, etc. into so many such small parts, so that the volume, say Vi, one of the parts, let the volume be Vi, let Vi approaches 0. Let Vi tends to 0. It means the volume is so small. Suppose it approaches 0. This Vi so small that it approaches 0. Such a small volume into which we divide this whole surface. In that case, divergence is nothing but denoted as div f. It is limit Vi tending to 0, the surface integral of f over the entire surface divided by the volume Vi. This total flux per unit volume as volume approaches 0 is called as divergence. That's the meaning. Divergence is the flux of the vector field diverging per unit volume as volume approaches 0. This is div f denoted as del dot f. Del dot f. What is del? It's an operator. Del dot f is the symbol used to represent divergence of the vector. Del is the vector operator. It's not vector by itself. It's a vector operator given by I cap delta by delta x plus j cap delta by delta y plus k cap delta by delta z. It's an operator. It's nothing but which gives its operation on a scalar. It's a gradient of a scalar. Here it is the operation on a vector del dot f. This is about divergence. And the divergence of the vector, see, this is expansion. Del is this, f in terms of its components. So you get del dot f as this. What it says? Divergence of a vector is always a scalar. No ijk. Divergence of a vector is always a scalar. Now what is the physical insignificance? See, by knowing divergence, we can find out the amount of the vector field moving away from the point or amount of the flux coming or converging at a point. All these things can be found out by knowing the divergence of that vector field. See here, I have given the example of a liquid in motion, liquid or fluid in motion. A fluid in motion, a moving fluid, either liquid or gas. Fluid in motion, let F be the vector field associated with this moving fluid, which is nothing but the velocity. The vector field is the velocity of the fluid. The vector field associated with the moving fluid is nothing but velocity of the fluid. Then the divergence at a point, the divergence of this velocity, the field is velocity field. Divergence of velocity at a point means the fluid moving away from the point, it's expanding. Divergence is nothing but fluid moving away from a point. So it is expanding. Then in that case, the divergence is said to be positive. And the point is the source. Already explained it. And the point is called the source. When the fluid is converging at a point, it is contracting. So divergence is negative. Negative divergence, convergence. Negative divergence is nothing but convergence. That point is called the sink. And in some cases, if del dot f0, if the divergence of the vector field equal to 0, then that vector is called as a solenoidal vector. If the vector is such that divergence of that vector at a given point is 0, then that vector is said to be a solenoidal vector. For a solenoidal vector, divergence of that vector is always 0. Suppose we have a vector field F. If it is solenoidal, that vector field is solenoidal, then del dot F 0. Del dot F 0 means at a given point, the flux diverging from the point is equal to the flux converging at the point. The total flux moving outward is equal to total flux moving inward. In that case, del dot F equal to 0. This is about the solenoidal vector. Next, one more topic is curl of a vector. Curl of a vector. One more quantity, curl of a vector. Curl, the word itself indicates, curl means the rotational effect, the rotational motion produced in a vector field. Curl nothing but the rotational motion of the vector field. So it is nothing but the circulation of that vector field. And it gives the total work required. Curl of a vector is nothing but the total work required to circulate along the boundary, along the given path in the vector field. What is curl of the vector? It is the total work required to circulate, total work required to move along the circular path. See here, we have a vector field F. This is the circular path. The total work required to circulate along the boundary in this vector field. It is called the curl of that vector. And curl of any vector is obtained using the line integral. By considering the line integral of the vector field along the given path of circulation, we get the curl of that vector field. So what the curl describes? It describes the whirling or the rotational character of the fluid in space or that vector field. It explains the rotational character of the vector field. And the curl of a vector, see here also I have considered a closed loop C, I have enclosed a surface S. Let S be the total surface enclosed by this closed loop C. F is a vector field. Then the motion of this vector field, movement of the vector field along the closed loop is called the circulation. Circulation is nothing but line integral of that vector field. What's line integral? Integration of F vector dot dr vector. So the line integral of F vector is F vector dot dr vector, the line integral of this over the closed loop, the entire loop. Now, if we divide this loop into so many parts, C1, C2, C3, etc., having area ds1, ds2, ds3, etc., small areas. And if the whole loop is divided in such a way that the areas are very small, suppose dsi tends to 0, then the ratio of curl of the vector field per unit area, curl of the vector field to the area of that small area dsi with limit dsi tending to 0. This is called as curl of the vector, denoted as del cross F. Curl denoted as del cross F. This is about curl of a vector. And if you expand, find the cross product. You know how to find the cross product? With the method of determinants. From that, you get the expression for del cross F as this. And here say, the three columns are, one is del. First one is I cap, I, J, K. First row. Then next row, the operator, del by del X, del Y, del by del Z. Then F, components, Fx, Fy, Fz. If you solve this, you get this expression. You know how to find out. You have already studied in your first BSc class. This is the method to find out del cross F. So, the curl of a vector is given by del cross F. The expression is this, and what the expression says, curl of a vector is always a vector. Curl of a vector is always a vector. If del cross F is 0, suppose del cross F is 0. Del cross F means, F0 means there is no curl, there is no rotation, is it not? There is no rotation means, it's here, there is no rotation means the field is said to be irrotational field. When del cross F 0, there is no rotational effect. there is no rotation produced in the field, that such a field is called irrotational field. For irrotational field, del cross F0 or curl of that, see in case of electrostatic field, curl E0 or del cross E equal to 0. For any vector field in general, curl of that vector field 0 means that field is irrotational one, no rotation produced. Physical significance, here one example I have given to explain the physical significance of the curl of the vector. See, this is the paddle wheel. A paddle wheel with the shaft, this is the shaft, this is the paddle wheel. When this wheel is kept in a stream, suppose there is a stream, water flowing in a stream of rectangle cross section, say. Let V be the velocity. And in the stream of rectangle cross section, say this way, rectangle cross section, suppose the water is flowing this way, in this direction. And here we know that at the banks, the velocity of the stream is 0. As you move towards the center, velocity of the streamline. Just remember the streamline motion. Suppose the liquid is in streamline motion. The velocity of the streams goes on increasing, it becomes maximum at the center. These things we know very well. So, in such a stream, suppose this paddle wheel is kept. Suppose it is kept at the left bank. Suppose here, this is the left bank, this is the right one. Suppose paddle wheel is kept here. What happens? Here, if you consider two streams, one stream is this, other one this. 0, little more velocity. When you keep the wheel here, what happens? A rotation effect is produced like this. This stream, because of this velocity, rotation produced in the what direction? To the left. Means it is the anti-clockwise. Suppose wheel is kept here. Whatever the rotation, it is produced in this way. In the clockwise. In the right bank, this wheel is rotated in the clockwise direction. In the left bank, it is rotated in the anti-clockwise. Did you get? See, streams. Divide the liquid into streams. Velocity of the stream goes on increasing. At the bank, it's 0. These 2 points, 0 velocity. So when you keep the wheel here, velocity is more, no? So that velocity rotates the wheel. The rotation of the wheel here indicates that some rotation effect is produced by the liquid. This liquid in motion. Similarly, here rotation produced in this direction. That is nothing but effect produced by this vector field. This is the physical significance of the curl of a vector. This is about divergence of a vector and curl of a vector. Now, 2 more theorems, just a statement only. 2 theorems. One is Gauss theorem, other one Stokes theorem. Just statements only. Gauss theorem or Gauss divergence theorem. This Gauss divergence theorem, it is used to convert surface integral into volume integral. What the theorem says is, suppose we have a vector field, say F. In that vector field, consider a closed surface S enclosing volume V. Then, according to Gauss divergence theorem, the surface integral of normal component of this vector function taken over a closed surface is equal to volume integral of the divergence of that vector taken over the volume V, taken over the entire volume V. Surface integral of normal component of that vector field over the entire surface S is equal to volume integral of divergence of that vector over the entire volume V. Thus, Gauss divergence theorem converts surface integral into volume integral. How? Here, when surface convert into volume, this F vector dot df vector becomes del dot F dv. Then Stokes theorem. Stokes theorem converts lines integral into surface integral. Line integral to the connection between line integral and surface integral. Here we consider a vector field. There we consider a closed loop C enclosing volume V. Then this theorem states that the line integral of tangential component of this vector field around a closed loop is equal to surface integral of the normal component of this vector, normal component of curl of the vector over the entire surface bounded by the curve C. That is, say the line integral of f vector dot dr vector over the entire curve C is equal to surface integral of del cross curl of the vector. What is curl? Del cross f dot ds over the entire wall, entire surface. These are the two theorems, Gauss theorem and Stokes theorem, which are very much useful in converting surface to volume integral and line to surface integral. With this, I stop here.